Chair now recognize Ms. Tlaib.
Thank you so much. It's not just, of course, our Amish neighbors, but it's even communities like the city of Detroit. And if you can, Postmaster General, I don't know if you have a pen on you or anything. Can you write down this? It's called Joy Field Station in Detroit. Everybody, great. Everybody's writing it down. It's been years that I have been, trying to have you all move with urgency about the lack of staffing, the fact that my residents are getting mail every other day there. And again, I don't think it's because our workers there are not working hard enough. I really think it's some of the changes that have been happening. And also, kind of to piggyback, I think one of my colleagues mentioned about how to actually put complaints forward and where does it go? It's changed. And it's really become very much a struggle for many of my residents that rely on the Postal Service. So Joyfield Station, please, we need to talk about what's going on there. Postmaster DeJoy, what is universal service obligation? What is that?
Well, it's undefined, relatively undefined.
No, I think it's already set by Congress, right?
A long time ago.
Yeah, well, it's still law of the land. So it's actually binding standards for prompt, reliable, affordable services, correct?
As I said, undefined.
Yeah, no, it's pretty defined. If you want, I can get the law, get the standard for you. But it's actually part of your job to know what that is. So my question then is, what are we doing to fulfill the universal service obligations under the U.S. Postal Service?
Everything. Right? First of all, the recent legislation put into the universal service obligation, as far as I see it, delivering to 167 million addresses 6 days a week. We're investing. We've committed over $15 billion into repairing the horrible conditions that we had, equipping our facilities, equipping our carriers.
I understand. Postmaster General, it's very rare when you see both sides of the aisle in this committee actually agreeing.
I don't think when it concerns
no.
When it concerns the Postal
It's still delayed. There's issues, but I'm telling you, it's delayed. People are seeing some of the changes with your 10-year plan actually result in some really extreme cases where folks are not getting their mail. But it's really important. So yes or no, will your 10-year plan lead to closures of any more of the postal facilities that our constituents rely on? How many more?
Well,
I know you closed.
I have not closed any retail centers.
Did you close 200 mail processing plants?
I have not closed 200 mail processing
200 mail processing plants you did not close?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay, let me tell you, what is this about 200? So are you planning to close 200?
I'm planning to open bigger buildings and consolidate.
What they call the mega plants? This is important for my colleagues. So 60 mega plants that you want to do?
We'll have 60 regional processing and distribution centers and about 170 local processing and distribution centers across the nation, and we're closing about 180 annexes that did random things around the country.
Yeah, so I read I don't know, somewhere in Wyoming, did you hear about this? Where they have to go as far as like Denver to get their packages if they weren't home, and the Postal Service came to their door, knock, knock, they weren't home, they have to travel 45 minutes away to go get their package? Not aware of that.
Not aware of that.
Okay.
Post offices all over Wyoming.
I understand. Something is happening, though. General DeJoy.
Something has been happening for 20 years.
Postmaster DeJoy, I know I've only been here 6 years. I've never gotten this many complaints about our Postal Service until you were became in charge. Okay. And trust me, I know our chairman and some other my colleagues are seeing the same thing. Not only are they directly impacted, but our constituents are obviously feeling the same changes. It's really important. This is an important question, and Inspector, I may ask you the same. Can you tell me the total cost of non-compliance with the American Postal Workers and Letter Carriers Union contracts? How much has it cost us in some of the non-compliance actions?
More than it should have, but that's been going
on for a
long. I don't know off the top of my head.
This is Oversight Committee. You got to be. How much? Do you know, Inspector? How much did it cost us, that Postmaster DeJoy's leadership, in non-compliance in union contracts?
I don't know the answer to that, but we are going to be doing an audit into that area upcoming this year.
What is it, like 5 million? What is it?
It's in the millions.
It's in the millions?
But it's been in the millions for a long time.
DeJoy, at the beginning, the postal workers were like, okay, we see what you're going to try to do with this 10-year plan, yes or no? And then they changed their mind because they said, they're not in support of you. I don't know what you were saying. They actually passed a resolution calling for your resignation. Did you know that?
When?
The American Postal Workers, if I may submit it for the record, Mr. Chair, AFPWU, American Postal Workers Union Convention, adopts a resolution to remove Postmaster General DeJoy, September 16, 2022. Would you like me to get you the resolution, Mr.?
I don't think they renewed that request in their last
Can I,
meeting.
can I send you this?
You can send it to me. I'm
Who
aware
do you
of-
think many of us are talking to? We're talking to the workers. We're talking to our neighbors.
And I've talked to the workers also.
Yeah, they said, quote, because of delayed mail and undermined public confidence in the Postal Service, verbatim from that resolution. Postmaster DeJoy, you don't
I have
have,
7 unions.
I understand that.
That was one.
But Postmaster DeJoy, we're not making this up. You're making it out like members of Congress. There's too many of us that
Well,
are telling you
I'm
the
not-
same
I'm not
thing.
saying that
And
you're making
honestly,
it up,
it's
but I'm
not
saying how
political because
relevant it
guess
is.
what? Both Republicans and Democrats are giving you the same stories.
Well, I say Republicans and Democrats are significantly responsible for the condition of the United States Postal Service when I arrived here.
Well, maybe
These-
it's because
these
you
things have
don't
been
know the
manifesting
answer.
themselves over the
Maybe
last
it's
20
because you
years.
don't know the answers. We're asking you questions. You don't even know how much in 2024 through the grievance abrasion tracking system. How many complaints have you had in the grievance tracking system? How many?
I
Really important to know. Like how many grievances have been filed
I have a
under your
labor
leadership?
department. I interact with my unions all the time.
But you can't say they're in support of you. You don't even know how many grievances were filed. I'll leave it at this because you.
Well,
Thank you, Mr.
grievances-
Chair, for being generous at
grievances
this
that
time.
file have
I
to do
called for
with-
this hearing, and I told the chairman this is one area that impacts all of our districts, every corner of our country, every part of our country is impacted by this. Literally, the Postal Service. We got to do better.
Which-
You are a public servant. You're not in the private sector anymore, Postmaster
aware of
DeJoy. You have a higher standard. The public relies on you making the right decision. And please, for the love of God,
They do you.
for the love of God, put the universal service obligations in your office. Print it out. That is literally supposed to be your guidance to the standard. Thank you. I yield.
Gentle